When working in Storyline, often people like to use items on the slide master. And the benefit of that is if you put something on the slide master, it can appear on all of your slides. For example, let's take a look at this slide master. And what you'll see here on the parent master, we've added a simple progress meter. So it's going to be reflected in all the layouts. All the triggers are here on the master as well. And here's how that looks when you play the course. As you can see, the progress meter is on every slide. So as I move through, I'm able to keep up with the progress of the course. It's a great idea. It works well. You put it on one slide, your slide master, and it appears everywhere. Here's where the challenge lies. Let's say you're in the middle of a design and you decide on this particular slide, you're going to add a full image to the slide. So if I come in and insert an image from Content Library, let's say I type in office, and I'll hit insert. You can see how this covers the whole slide. And what does that mean? When I go to preview, you'll see where before we were able to see that progress meter, we now cannot. Not on this slide at least. If I continue and go to slides that don't have the full image, you'll see that. So one of the ways that you might consider addressing that would be putting that item that's on the slide master on a layer. Let's show you what we mean. In this particular example, I'm going to preview the slide. And what you'll notice when we preview is even though these slides have full imagery on them, you can still see the item from the slide master. And even on the first slide, I added an interaction as well, just so you can see how that might work. So let's talk about what that looks like in the actual build. So let's come to our slide master, view, slide master. And you'll see it looks like there's nothing on here at all. But what we've done is taken where we normally would have had that progress meter graphic, we put all of that and the triggers down here on a layer. So you'll see the triggers, you'll see the item, and really the only thing we've added on the base of that master, we've added a trigger that says show the layer meter when the timeline starts at the slide. So that means it'll show up on every slide. So even though masters typically are in the background of a slide, because we're using a layer, layers will always be on the surface. And that's how we get the effect that we're going for. Now there is a caveat we want to consider, and that is if you're adding interactivity. So in this particular case, I have two buttons on the slide that are both showing layers. So if I were to select these layers, and I'm going to hold down Shift to select both of them, and then also the gear icon to open up the layer properties, it would be important for me not to have the item checked, which is checked by default, that hides other slide layers. If that is checked, that means when the user would interact with these buttons, then that layer that's on the master would disappear. So we want to prevent that from happening. But other than that, this is really a nice way for you to be able to put something on the master and not letting the items you put on the slide cover it up.